loading snacks.
What a do, snackers, snackettes, and snack X's. This your boy Gage. I'm here with Sin and with jokes. You are now officially tuned in to Loading Snacks Weekly, where we get together once a week and we talk about all kinds of things that are happening in pop culture. And today, we are gonna recap our time at Otacon. Talk a little bit about She-Hulk, and as promised from last week, assuming we don't overdo our time with recapping Otacon, we'll talk about this possibility of Microsoft buying Netflix thing that seems to be floating around a little bit. Sound good to y'all?
Yeah, sound good.
All right, so listen, it's going to be an untraditionally short show. Got a hard out at 9:30, so 1 hour and we're out of here. Okay, it's a boom and a move and a shake. So look, folks, you got a job to do.
Yes, sir.
Those of you who are here, most of you, I'm positive, already know. But in case you don't, you hit that link right there, and that will take you to all the rest of our links so that you can follow us across the board, everywhere else that we are on social media and the like. Saying you start that OnlyFans yet?
Not yet.
Okay, well, when it happens,
the
way to know, be in that beacon. You understand what I'm saying?
Show up.
You got to show up. Saying you got a job to do.
Yeah, so let's shout out our top tier patrons, starting with Anthony Cunningham, Marcus Houston, Susan Deutsch, Tyrone Carson, and Meticulous Skin. Thank you very much. We truly, truly appreciate it.
So I want to make a comment really, really quickly. I know last week we talked about how there were going to be some upcoming changes to Patreon. Those changes do exist. They are there. It is a real thing. So there are a bunch of new tiers. You can go and check it out.
I was waiting for Robert in that one. I knew that was going to come as soon as we started.
And with those tiers, I want you to understand that we're not going to change top tier. So right now, if you're top tier and you're at like the $15, yes, the people who are above you will also get mentioned, but we're not going to stop mentioning the people who are at the current tier. That was once the top tier. We don't, as a change that we're making, that's not fair, I think, to take that away, so we won't do that. So I just wanted to make sure that people were aware that that wasn't going to be a change that we were going to make. Let's get into this, man. Let's talk what happened at Otacon. Let's just start with like a straight up recap. Overall, gentlemen, how was Otacon 2022?
Overall, I thought it was great. Had a great time there with not just you gentlemen, we're just catching up with everybody and, the stuff we were seeing out there. Overall, had a great time. Yes, it was extremely busy and traffic heavy for the majority of the weekend, but overall, had a great time out there.
Say that. Hold on. When you say that, like the way you said it, almost seems like you maybe had some issues with how busy it was. Like
I personally didn't have any issues with how busy it was because we were blessed to have press passes, so we can kind of come and move around a little bit easier than everybody else was able to. But I get like when we're walking past the windows and looking outside and like, dog, it's 5:00 and the line is still double wrapped around this convention center of people trying to get in. Like, I get it. Like, it was busy. Even when we're trying to maneuver back and forth from going upstairs to get the interviews, going back down to the show floor, and it's just more people every time we're moving, and it's just so packed spaces. Like, that's what I'm saying. I get it. You know what I mean? Had a good time, but yes, it was very busy. Traffic was heavy.
Yeah, which I don't necessarily think is a bad thing.
Not at all.
The ability to handle it was a little. But
jokes.
Kind of mirroring. Had a great time. For us moving around, whether it's busy or not, I think we've grown accustomed to knowing how to maneuver and move. So for me, kind of stuff didn't really bother us as much. Felt bad for some of the people still standing in line trying to get into experience some of those things that they wanted to get in to do. But it's like once you were inside for the most part, once you were in, you were in. And you can manage to get to the floor. You sometimes wait in the line to get to whether it was Artist Alley or was the vendor side. But other than that, particular line, everything else for the most part was still moving and walking around. There was some hiccups with some escalators and things going on, but
oh yeah, oh yeah,
there was some hiccups.
yeah, that was a mess.
But
It's a little bit of an understatement.
but we roll with the punches. We move where we needed to go. I still had a great time running into old people, old friends that we knew, meeting some new people. Did you become a K-pop fan in Otacon? I tell you, I became a Rolling Quartz fan. I will tell you. I will tell you.
I did that, sir.
I will tell you. I got their music on repeat in the car, but I am a fan of Rolling Quartz. As soon as they hit the stage and hit that first note, I was like, oh,
Hey,
you're not.
All right, let's do this. One, I am not a K-pop fan. That's not a thing. I do like K-pop. I already did. So did I become a K-pop fan at Otakon? No. Because over the years, I have developed a deep appreciation for it. I just, I don't like everything everybody else likes. But even though I was a fan of Rolling Quartz, like I tried to tell them, I was like, "Yo, I'm trying to tell y'all, Rolling Quartz." I sent them like, "Yo, y'all need to check this out." I watched
the one video and listened. I was like, "That Jones sounds like a straight anime." I was like,
tell them,
it did.
I dig it.
Yeah,
seeing them live,
that's a whole different thing.
Totally different experience.
Yeah,
like
hey Slim, they crushed that joint. Like they put on an incredible show, and it was like. Here's the thing. I feel like it was thoughtful in a way. It was almost unnecessary. Like, I get it. Like, this is your first time performing in the United States, right? And you're doing it at Otacon, which is pretty cool. It's a pretty solid get for Otacon, right? So you come out to the Star Spangled Banner.
Yeah.
Which
they didn't have to do that, but it was.
That was dope.
They knocked that out the park.
So the band is called Rolling Quartz. I didn't upload a bunch of. I did have this one image that I caught of this was just the lead singer and one of the guitarists that I caught from the stage. So what Otacon allowed us to do as press was during the first two songs of the set from each of the performing groups that evening, we were allowed to go to the stage to specifically record and shoot images and so forth. So we got a lot of good images and good footage. Look, Star Spangled Banner is actually considered a difficult song to sing. It is a song that's used as a test song for people who are attempting to get into choirs, choruses.
What about Alfonso?
The highest. What's up, Alfonso? So Rolling Quartz is a band that is actually an amalgam of people who were in other bands at one point and came together to form this band. They technically only have like 2 songs that are like live of their own. They do a lot of covers. As a matter of fact, they did the Star Spangled Banner and went right into Misery Business from Paramore and
smoked it.
Bodied that joint.
Yeah.
There are certain things that I specifically look for in a great show in terms of musicians and music and so forth. One of those things is crowd control. I believe that the best performers, the best musicians, have the most crowd control. When I say that, it is they know how to get the crowd as involved as possible without bringing them on stage from their seats. They do the best job of making people feel like they're a part of the stage show, not just a part of the concert. Because everybody who's in the concert hall is a part of the concert. So there's already something special about being there. Rolling Quartz, Quartz,
like quartz,
yes.
Quartz.
So the way that they controlled the crowd was incredible. And it's normal in K-pop for them to unlike what you see here when people perform, usually people more or less roll song into song into song.
Mm-hmm.
They do a song, roll into the next song, roll into the next song. They might take a quick breather to do things like change. Like they consider anytime when the music really stops to be dead air for the most part. So like they might switch out to change outfits or something like that, or do something different to the set. But it's not uncommon for in like K-pop or outside of the states for them to they would literally just do a song and they just stop and talk to you for like a minute while they catch their breath and whatever. Hey, how y'all doing? That's great. We so happy to be here. Whatever. And Rolling Chords did that, but it always felt like they were doing a great job of involving the crowd. You know what I mean? And what they were doing. So I just think it went over super well. I'm gonna save some things, but Sin, talk to me about this here.
Yeah, I had the pleasure of sitting down with Tiana Camacho, a voice actor. Sat and talk. It was this interview was interesting to me just because of I prepared. I got my questions I want to ask. I'm ready to go. Sat down. I got through like 2 of them.
Yep.
And she went off on the second question and just ran with it for the rest of the time. Like her passion about that particular anime like made me want to watch it. You know what I mean? So yeah, I have it on my list to get to watch just because of her passion of it. Like that blew me away with it or whatever. And she was just, so cool, so so energetic, so personable. Like I really, really enjoyed
it. Yeah. We got a chance. We all as per usual.
Hey,
got a chance to get a quick image with Ghosty Muffin cosplay.
Yep.
Hey, Ghosty is a homie.
No, she's a homie.
Yes,
she's a homie. We're working on getting carving some time out to have her come and guest on the show with us. Her boyfriend Rookie, who's next to her, he does cosplay, but I don't feel like he doesn't take it seriously. It just isn't the same. Like
my man was just chill.
Yeah, like she's in character 100% of the time, which is always fun. But they're both super awesome. We're looking to get them on, and this has kind of become a tradition that like if they're at a convention and we're at a convention, we gotta find each other. Yeah, we get together.
Yes, Heather, I'm going to do the same. Her energy jumped up like 100-fold when I asked that question.
Yeah. Once she said, "Oh my God," and looked at the sky, I was
like, "No, I was like, oh, it's over, it's over."
It was over. Like, here we go. Hey, look, as is another con staple. We frequently get to see the death of Uncle Ben. I'm almost positive that this gentleman and I are related. We call each other cousin when we see each other. We have the same last name. My last name isn't actually very common. But yeah, he goes by Paranoia Boy, BOI, on Instagram and Twitter and so forth. But his name is Tony Dorch. You know what I mean? There ain't a lot of Dorches. So, I always see him. We call each other cousin or whatever. But he does this at almost every convention. And I don't even think you can find Uncle Ben's rice at all anymore.
Nope, he has the last boxes on the face of this planet. That's it. He got all of them.
Yeah, them joints might be worth something at some point. So let's see. Oh, Ellie Choi.
Yes.
So you got to talk with Ellie. We met Ellie at her table. Interview is incoming, but Ellie is a 19-year-old artist and writer who has a webtoon comic. What's the name of the comic, Sam?
Vampire Lord.
Vampire Lord. It has like 14 million readers.
It's ridiculous.
And like almost 400,000 followers. So she's self-taught. Yeah, I was gonna say, those boxes are actually yeah, you're right, Robert. She's a self-taught artist, self-taught writer.
That was impressive. That was very impressive.
And looking to continue to move forward. So it was just really nice to meet her, talk with her mother, and just kind of share. This is her very first convention, period.
Mm-hmm.
She just managed to turn the webtoon into an actual book, physical book. So it was really cool to kind of talk to her and meet with her and kind of give her some, hey, look, these are some things you probably should go do. Go take some time away from your table. Go do some networking. Go meet some other people. Go see some artists you like. Stuff like that. Um, kind of do some of those things. But I think she has an incredible future in front of her.
Oh,
I
most
honestly
certainly.
believe that this is one to keep your eyes on, Ellie Choi. She
100%. Yeah.
really awesome. Um, oh man, I finally got. So this young lady
Years in the
here, her
making.
name is Lacey. I have been chasing the opportunity to speak with Lacey on camera for probably, I don't know, 3 years, something like that. Like, it's been a while. Um, and the thing about Lacey is that she is a person who works behind the scenes at almost every convention we go to.
Yep.
And I would constantly hear, we've been doing this for a long time. We go at a lot of artist tables. We know a lot of them very well personally. And we would always hear about this person, Lacey, who takes care of them, makes sure they have everything they need, gets them in the place they need to be. If something's wrong with their tables or wrong with whatever, she does such a great job taking care of her. And so I want to say it was last year at Otacon, because I've been hearing about her for so long. Um, DJ Awesomeness Prime and I were talking to his table, and he was like, he actually did me the favor of managing to scrounge up two passes for me to get to somebody. And so when I was thanking him for doing so, he was like, "Yeah, I reached out to this young lady that works here, and she was like," and I was like, "By any chance,
Is her that I remember
her name Lacey?" And he was like,
yeah.
And I was like, "Is she here?" And he was like, "Yeah." I was like,
I need to meet her.
I need to talk to her. I need to find her. I need to talk to her." And he called her, and she came right to the table. Like, she came over and we talked, and I was like, "Listen, I just need to thank you because you take such good care of the people that matter the most to us, our friends, our good people that we come to conventions to see and talk to and check up on and shoot interviews with. And I just keep hearing about you. I keep hearing what your name." So she is a vice president in some manner at Otacon. She helps to run Artist Alley. Um, and we had a very good conversation and finally managed to get something on film. So look for that. It's coming up. But Lacey is super, super awesome. Well, I guess it's about that time, y'all. We can't wait no longer, boy. Oh, J. Robert Dean. Oh, man.
Yeah, I got slipped on.
I want you to know that there's a longer version of this video, then maybe I'll just upload that straight to Patreon.
Just Patreon. That's a Patreon joint right there.
Of it.
It is.
It's two angles too.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
What, J. Robert? Don't you dare think you're gonna shame me. That's not happening.
How can you? It's too public to be shamed. You know what I mean? Yeah.
There we
go.
My wife who stepped on me. Yeah.
It is. But he said he hasn't started it yet, or I would have added it to our beacons. Unless it's a secret and I just haven't found out about it yet. Which is totally possible.
Yes, I paid mommy to step on me. Yes, I did that. It was a thing. It happened.
All right, so look. I'm moseying my way through the con floor.
Oh, it does explain so much.
I say it does. I see this young lady with this sign that says like $10, mommy will step on you. And I'm like, here's the thing. Y'all know that I don't know anime the way the two of them know anime. I just assumed that this was a thing, but it was a very specific thing for this character that she's cosplaying or, something like that. But I noticed, and for whatever reason, somehow I was slightly away from the rest of the team. So they weren't with me when I discovered this initially. And then I noticed that there was sort of a group gathered around.
Hey, Zay.
What's up?
there was a group gathered around, and people were in fact like they have. If you look in the picture, let me put the picture back up. If you look in the picture, you can see.
One thing I try to be a senator.
Facts. But they be trying to hide it, J. Robert D. So it's different.
Oh no, it's in the open.
The money in her hand, and if you look, the young lady in the red, she's got like a can that has a bunch of money in it.
Nope, you didn't miss it. You came right at the perfect time.
You didn't miss this. There is a lot of money in
There's
there.
a lot of money.
There's a lot of money in there, y'all. And I was watching people go up and give them money and get stepped on. Now, some people will go up and like sit on their knees and put their hands out. They would put their foot in their hand or something like that. But then I heard her go, "Oh, girls are free." For real? All that money and the girls are free. And it was a lot of girls who were going up, getting stepped on, right? So I just said, this must be related to a character or something like that. And then,
oh, most certainly, shout out to that.
I heard her say, "Oh, you don't have cash? Go to the table right there. We take cards." What?
It's business.
And they were doing it. It was, listen. So I went back to them and was like, "Hey, it's a young lady over there getting paid to step on people. We in the wrong business. We're doing something
wrong.
We're
doing something wrong."
We walk over to see it. My sister and her daughter and a friend of theirs and the rest of us are there. And I'm just kind of standing and watching in awe as it takes place in front of me. And I turn around to say to Sin, and it would be crazy if we just got some video.
We got some content.
Yeah, if we just got some content. But when I turned around, my sister was already saying something to Sin about, "Hey, would you do that?" And this dude was already like, "I'm thinking about it."
Huh? Out comes the camera. It's like, okay.
Oh, we definitely getting this.
It's like, pull your wallet out. Let's go.
We about to, this is what we doing? Well, I'm going to narrate this entire thing.
Come on, look, the stars aligned. I'm like, all right, look, content for us.
It's like,
yes,
look, waiting for?
No, I'm just saying content for us. It's like I didn't like go crazy buying stuff at the con. You know what I mean? So yeah. I was good. You know what I mean? So I'm like, $10. My favorite waifu. She's dressed up as my favorite waifu, standing right there. Like, what the hell? Let's go for it. Let's do it.
You had to find some other type of excuse. Nah, you just want to get stepped on, my dude.
Yeah, she can step. Yes, it's fine.
Yeah, real talk. Like, the first thing that went through my head was, Shady Hayes asked us at AwesomeCon if we wanted a table next year at AwesomeCon, and I was thinking,
oh, we can reverse the sign. You can step on me for $5. We can do that. You can step on me for $5 if you want.
You better stop. They stomp you out like here's $100. We're gonna stomp you out.
Hey, if they want to do the JoJo meme, that's
I was about to say the same thing.
I don't know what you're expecting then for Extra Life, J. Robert Dean, if dancing isn't it. But I'm not sending people to his house to step on. I'll let him work that out. It was Otakon was special this year. They broke records.
Mm-hmm.
So many people in attendance, and I'm not sure exactly what caused such a thing. I think there are some people who just like, look, it's summertime for sure. You know what I mean? We've gotten past those early vacations and 4th of July. You know what I mean? And we're getting ready to go into back to school. A lot of people traveled internationally to get there, not just the guests, but obviously people who were visiting. And they were not prepared. Like there were some behind the scenes things that I was, told about. They had record attendance, way more than they were anticipating, and fewer volunteers than normal. J. Robert Deans has a question. Say answer that question.
No, I didn't ask. They kind of like had a lot of people out there trying to get stepped on. So I didn't want to,
There were a lot of people.
yeah.
No, it was
Like, there was a large group of people.
It was like a
Yeah.
massacre. Like when a massacre happened, and everybody just has to like stand around and just look at whatever bad thing just happened. Like it was like that.
I didn't tell her though.
Like
I
you go
didn't tell her.
somewhere, like in a subway or on the street somewhere, and you see like a street performer doing something.
Yeah.
It's just like a crowd gathers. It was just kind of like that. Like it just was like.
I told her, I said, yeah, I said, you are dressed up as my favorite waifu, so I do got to do this. When I gave her the money, like, let's just.
Yeah, I saw you try to give her an excuse. You ain't owe her no excuse.
I said, take my money.
You paid for it. You know what I mean? Exactly. Yeah, it was definitely a show. Yeah, I'm gonna say that Otacon I think was more enjoyable this year. Again, just a lot of people, a lot to see, a lot happening. Ran very early to very late, like 8 a.m. to 1:30 a.m. is a serious, super serious run time. So there was a lot, but man, I had a great time. I'm seriously looking forward to next year.
Yeah,
100%.
To next year.
Think about getting a hotel for next year too, straight up.
You may be out of luck because them Jones went up yesterday.
I know, but it ain't got to be connected to the hotel. It could be,
Yeah.
Oh no,
it's
like the first like 4 in the immediate area. Them Jones is gone.
I believe it. Makes sense. It makes sense.
We'll see what happens.
Every
year, some change.
Yeah. Hey, so listen, let's shift gears a little bit. I don't want to miss the opportunity to talk about this again because we did say at the end of last year's episode we were going to do
that. The or, Robert.
Hey, Jay Robert says I ain't finna be nowhere near that room. Nope. So don't do that. Not even a little bit.
Do not disturb. Do not disturb.
Sir. I'm gonna put in my.
That's what they be like. Hey, we're low at
different floors from.
Anybody heard from Low yet? He late getting down here.
Nah, let's just go ahead and start getting work done. Let's just start getting work done.
Anyway, so look, like early last week, maybe towards the end of the week before, some things started flying around about the possibility of stop it. The possibility of
with a good time.
Microsoft. I'm gonna keep that in mind, son. I'm gonna need that. I don't forget much of nothing. And you know that. Microsoft might be looking at purchasing Netflix. There's a financial analyst who stated as much and kind of sent people into a little bit of a frenzy. Mm-hmm. We've talked about stuff like this before. Jokes, what do you think? What do you think? Do you think this is a possibility?
Oh, definitely think this could be a possibility.
Okay. What about you, Sam? You think this is a possibility?
I mean, with everybody on their acquisition game right now, I think it could be a possibility that there's an offer on the table. Yeah.
What do you think would be the reasoning behind something like that?
Possibly to branch out more. You know what I mean? And the fact that, Netflix has been, it seems like they've been focused heavy these past couple of years, like on their geek side of things. Like they have Netflix Geek Week and all that kind of stuff. It just ties in well with Microsoft and, I'm saying, well, not just Microsoft in general, but like the gaming side of it and everything. Like with what they're putting out, it seems like it makes sense to me because of that. So, yeah, I can see it.
Jokes, what about you? What do you think?
It definitely makes sense. And I'm going to use Halo as the example where right now, Halo is a Paramount thing. But whereas using a third-party company to, use and put your product out, why not, if you can, one, absorb a company that has the ability to create and get out their own content, if you can absorb something like that with some of those production houses that are tied to it, there's a chance that whether it's the games to possibly make movies and shows and things, or Microsoft may just want to like kind of going into the Apple bucket. This is another way that you can
What J.
pull
Robert Dean's is saying.
from Apple's side, because like Apple has Apple TV Plus. I don't know how. I know there are people that are in it, but I don't think there's nearly as many people in that as you do a Netflix. And then if you can pull in and kind of do some of those similarity type of things, and then of course it's under your umbrella, even better.
You might be right. I mean, again, J. Robert Dean's even said this seems like MS wants to compete more with Apple now that Apple has had some success with Apple TV. I mean, I think it might be a little bit bigger than that because Microsoft did come out and say just prior to the launch of this generation of gaming that like PlayStation isn't really the competition.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in saying that PlayStation isn't really the competition and Nintendo isn't really the competition doesn't necessarily mean that Sony isn't the competition. Okay, but they highlight companies that are more like Amazon and like Google. As I said, Netflix probably has the best interface among the streamers. It's a turnkey operation. I mean, that's true in and of itself. This is kind of what I think I see in this. So if you look at Microsoft's biggest competitors, of which Apple is one, Apple does have its own streaming service in Apple TV, right? And they have a way for you to access that by selling you a box that has access to that streaming service. Microsoft already sells you a box that has that, but we know that they've been talking about getting you a dongle that allows you access to the streaming service that they have for their gaming.
Right.
Netflix has also been digging into gaming. They've been buying gaming studios. And now, I don't know if most people know this, but if you log into Netflix on your phone or a tablet, there's an option to choose movies or games. And you can just, you already have a Netflix subscription.
You already get the game.
There's no additional charge. It's part of your actual subscription. If you look across the board at their competition, let's look at Google. Well, does Google have a streaming service?
Well,
it's called YouTube. It's called YouTube.
Yeah.
Does Amazon have a streaming service?
Sure enough.
They have Prime, right?
Yes, they do.
So their two biggest competitors outside of gaming do in fact have their own streaming services that have their own levels of relative success, right? Google's ad service is incredibly competitive. Like that's where they really make their money. Amazon is part of your Prime subscription. So they're charging now somewhere in there, it's like $130 for that a year. It says, are we really saving money versus cable with all these subs? Absolutely not.
Yeah, it depends. If you got like 15 of them,
I would say it depends on what you're watching and how many services you got. Yeah,
that's.
Here's the other thing. Sony, who we would probably say is Xbox's biggest competitor, PlayStation, right? They have their own streaming service. I mean,
Funimation and Crunchyroll.
They do own movie studios, music studios. They have access to content, right? That a company like Microsoft just technically doesn't. They've attempted this before with their own, with like Zune, right? And there is there's Microsoft movies and TV, right? That does exist. Right. Probably not J. Robert Dean's. Most people probably don't, if you're not an Xbox user, think about movies and TV. So it could make sense. Now, Microsoft just entered into a deal with Netflix specifically to provide the ad services for Netflix's new version of Netflix that has ads in it. So this is already them working in tandem, in combination with somebody who is in fact going to have access to data that nobody has more of than Netflix. We have talked on this show before.
Data.
Netflix. And what did I say? I said to y'all like 3 years ago, like, hey, I'm telling you now, Netflix within the next 5 years probably goes up for sale. And if they do, It won't be because of the content. It will be because of the data. The combination of the two, the data is immeasurable in what that
with
is
Netflix,
actually.
because they're the longest one running, like out of all of them. Yeah,
bro. Listen, for anybody who's got outside, one of the things that's brilliant about what Amazon has is that Amazon has street level addresses, because anybody who's got Amazon Prime is using shipping.
Yep.
They have it shipped to their house.
Yeah.
But you know who else has that kind of data is Netflix. Because whether you know it or not, Netflix does still send out actual discs to people.
Yep.
There are people who still use that service.
Yeah.
There are people who don't have internet that's fast enough to use Netflix streaming.
That's crazy.
That is invaluable information to a company like Microsoft that wants to stream to people for video games. Where are the big pockets of places where the speed just isn't fast enough? You can combine that kind of data with the data that Microsoft already has that they get from the internet, from the fact that they have, I mean, obviously the most widely used computer services. You know what I mean? It's kind of crazy. J. Robert Dean says, every husband watching us now jumping on Netflix to delete all this content. No, they not. It's too late. You can delete the searches. They're in there. That's what them cookies are for.
Cookies.
Exactly. I do think this would be a smart move for them. Now, what would it cost them? Probably nothing that technically Microsoft can't afford.
Can't do. I was gonna say that.
Yeah.
I don't think that a regulatory body would stop them from doing it, because absorbing Netflix doesn't take Netflix off the field. It does give Microsoft more, but I guarantee you that if they absorb Netflix, they would just fold it into whatever movies and TV is and call it Netflix.
Just like they've been doing.
Movies and TV goes away, so now they don't have that as a service. Sony can't say anything; they have their own. Google can't say anything; they have their own. Amazon can't say anything; they have their own. Disney has their own.
Yep.
Everybody else already has a hand in that bucket, in that pocket, and so.
Yeah, do it, Microsoft, and just make Game Pass Ultimate like $5 more. And hey,
and it will help save Netflix. You know what I'm saying? From all the negative press of they're losing subscribers and all that type of stuff. Yep.
The fact that Netflix has been losing subscribers at a record level, right? Puts them in a position to be showing themselves off to be worth the purchase. It makes them eye candy. It's the same thing that happened with Activision. Microsoft swooped in and bought them. They were having so many issues, so much trouble that was coming from the outside. It wasn't even necessarily monetary, but it was enough that it had caused what they were worth as a company to come down. Swoop. Right? So, look, there was a report this week. The Brazilian government asked PlayStation how Microsoft having control of Call of Duty would affect them, and whether or not they believe that it would affect whether or not people bought Xboxes over PlayStation. And for the first time, they were straight up like, yep.
We scared.
We believe that them having control of Call of Duty is going to affect us. And the reality of it is, technically for the next 3 years, if you include this year, so this year and the next 2 years, they're obligated to ship Call of Duty on PlayStation, right? Beyond that, they're not obligated. So even though Microsoft is saying they will,
things can absolutely change. Yes.
They don't have to. What's more important to me about that is that while we look at this as something that affects the current generation and the state of something like Game Pass right now, in the next 4 years, we will undoubtedly have or at least be shown whatever the next console is going to be. Whether that is a upgrade in power and it still falls within technically this generation, or we're ready to move into whatever the next generation is going to be. But if you are able to combine a streaming stick that all you have to do is have that stick in a controller and you can watch Netflix and or play games right there, if it's built into the TV, which they are already doing, adding Netflix to that portfolio, it's powerful and it would make a lot of sense.
Most certainly.
And it would give them so much more than we generally think about and or consider than what's happening on the U.S. side.
Mm-hmm.
So often we hear people talk about how big of a deal it could be to have a VPN because Netflix on an international level
Oh, completely
has dealt with
different.
so many
More stuff.
shows, be they
Yes.
anime or whatever, that
Mm-hmm.
you can access if you just change your location because you already have Netflix. That's going to give Microsoft insight to that data
Mm-hmm.
way beyond just what's happening
Who
in
out
the
here using these
so
VPNs?
much
Where
bigger.
you at?
J. Robert Dean said, "Are consoles moving towards things like the NVIDIA Shield, Xbox S model before they go fully integrated into TVs?" I mean, I think it's a combination of the two. I don't think that the next generation of consoles will not have a console. I still think that they believe,
Mm.
and it will be true, that still the fastest way and the best experience is going to be having an actual box that's under your television, right? Um, but it all depends. Like right now, if you have a 4K TV, you can use your PlayStation 5, PlayStation 4, any number of Xboxes, a DVD player, a Blu-ray player, any number of things to turn on Netflix and watch Netflix through your television, and
Mm-hmm.
and you can do it in 4K.
Mm-hmm.
However, if you use the app for Netflix that is built directly into your television, the viewing experience is way better. It's way better because there's nothing else between the television and the
Right.
content delivered.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like it's not having to come from your box, and it's not a separate interface that's different from what that is. J. Robert Dean says, so with the example of LP collectors, disc games and consoles won't go away anytime soon. So I'd say we probably have a solid 10 years
Mm-hmm.
before
Slowly but surely.
we're in a place
Taking
where
away.
consoles just go away. And that is something that is based on just the strength of, look, 5G is still so new. It will continue to get better and better and better. But
Facts.
the important thing about 5G is that 5G allows people who live in places where broadband internet still is too slow, or they can't get it to people, or the only way they can really access what would be the closest thing to an actual physical cable or a fiber optic internet is satellite. 5G is changing that.
Mm-hmm.
And 6G is coming because there's
Oh yeah.
always the next thing.
Always
Yeah.
the next
Yeah.
evolution.
So as those speeds get faster and faster, the hardest thing about that is that the stuff that we create, movies and TV don't really take super advantage and force an evolution in things like that because it's not necessary. With something like video games, as they get more power at their helm so that they can use it, there are people who are always going to push the boundaries, right? So this is a
Mm-hmm.
game that takes a terabyte to run instead of only being 500 gigs. You know what I mean, or something like that. So Andy says I could be wrong, but even now you don't need a console to play because cloud gaming and Game Pass, right? It's not that great, but it works. Correct. I mean, it is not the experience that you could get by playing directly off of a
Off
console,
system.
but they are also allowing you that if you have an old console, you can just stream.
Streaming
So the
from on
fact that you
console.
can
Yeah.
stream using the old Xbox at a higher fidelity than that Xbox allows you to play from disc because those games aren't as good, because they're actually using Xbox Series consoles
Mm-hmm.
as the server. You can actually have a better experience in that case. J. Robert Dean said, I just had to replace my Roku. Hush, G. So I got a Shield and have it loaded now with tons of ROMs and all. And yes, listen, it's perfect. There are
Mm-hmm.
ways to do that same thing on an Xbox. I run ROMs. Games that you just can't access any other way. You know
True.
what I mean? Like, I'm particular about that. Um, K Dizzle said we may have one more generation of consoles. I would agree with that. Ty, what up, gang? On the what are we talking about? The Batgirl movie cancellation or the death of the Arrowverse? Neither one of those things are important to us. We just like them. That's all.
Arrowverse is important, but
Yeah.
I mean,
it's
Arrowverse was
important.
technically already
Look,
dead
it,
when Arrow
we
dies. The Flash going away is a little different. I would
Mm-hmm.
say that. It's a little different.
yeah. As long as they how they ended, that's all I care about.
I'm happy it's at least getting 13 episodes. So
Yeah, it's at least
it should be a solid round out and not just like Legends that just got yanked and was on a cliffhanger. Like I hate those type of things, but
and
I just want
Stephen Amell to show up in the last episode, just
flashback
somehow.
or whatever.
Yeah, something,
it may
just
be.
something, just to end it off perfectly. That'll make me happy.
Yeah, J.R. Dean is the Batgirl cancellation surprise because of how much they already put into it.
Apparently, it was that bad.
It doesn't surprise me.
70 mil in? Oh, it's garbage. Throw it away.
Can I tell you that it just leans more credence to the concept that WB is going to begin selling things off.
Yeah.
And companies
they're
like
just
they're probably going to
get rid of
like
they're just getting rid of their losses.
They can't really 70 mil into a movie and just be like, nope. And nobody watching it was messing with it. Like, nah.
I'm just upset, even though they only said that Michael Keaton only had still a very small role. It's just upsetting me that we are probably not going to see the light of day of the Michael Keaton Batman comeback. Like, I almost feel like the Flash movie may end up doing the same thing with this Batgirl movie because
no, Disney doesn't buy DC. They won't allow it. I do think they would not allow that. I don't think Disney buys DC. I think Microsoft buys DC, or I think Amazon buys DC.
I wouldn't be mad at either one of those.
I would be mad at Amazon buying DC.
Yeah, I mean, Amazon already has ownership. I mean, they have comics and stuff. I mean, books.
They've been solid with their properties, so I wouldn't be mad at.
They just need to buy it, bury everything, and start over.
Okay, so that was not very nice. Let's go with Oracle. Didn't have latest standard. Let's go with that.
Oh,
I get it. That was trifling. Okay.
Hey, listen. We know that She-Hulk's getting ready to drop.
Mm-hmm.
This is a thing that's happening right now on billboards in LA.
Hey,
I like it. I go green, so you get green.
So what happens when you actually dial that phone number? I wonder if they actually set that
here's
up.
what I want to know. Should I call this joint right now?
I was about to do it right now.
Call it right now.
All right, here we go. Hold on. I want y'all to know, technically, I already have She-Hulk's number in my phone. Let's see what happens.
Hi, you've reached the Superhuman Law Division at GLK&H.
Okay, this time recorded as She-Hulk.
What?
Yep.
You know they can't see me, right? Okay, whatever.
Yes.
Your call is very important to us. Our associates are unavailable to take your call at this time, but please stay on the line to hear about our services here at GLK&H. Have you been fined for thousands of dollars worth of damage to the city you were trying to protect? Did you accidentally create a sentient robot who got the feels and tried to destroy the world? Maybe you're an Asgardian god who leaves a giant burning imprint on private property every time you arrive on Earth.
I know who she's talking about.
We've got your back. Our associates at the Superhuman Law Division of GLK&H will fight for your rights to fight for everyone else's rights, because that's what superheroing is all about. But don't take my word for it. Here's some testimonials from our satisfied clients. And then this is where we'd include the clients, right?
Yeah, like with their photo next.
Once again, phone line. They can't see us.
Wow.
And I guess that nope. I
guess Hi, you've reached the Superhuman Law Division.
Yeah, it just starts over.
What?
Hey, bro. How many calls do you think they're getting?
Dog, that's probably blowing up.
They're getting flooded with calls.
And does Disney now have my phone number?
Yes,
you did.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do.
You about to be getting text message spams and everything.
Hey, open your Facebook up. You probably gonna get an advertisement for She-Hulk or some Disney show right now.
Jokes.
Open Facebook up.
She-Hulk drops on Disney Plus.
Hey, you know what? I'm gonna open mine because I feel like my computer hears it. Like,
probably so, bro. The minute you go to Facebook, it's gonna be showing She-Hulk stuff. That's pretty dope. I'm gonna tell you what I'm gonna be very interested in seeing is whether or not that messaging changes
Probably
throughout the course of the show.
I can see that.
Okay.
Because that would be nuts.
Should we check it during Spoiler Boys?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yes, we should.
Yes, we absolutely should.
Okay.
Yeah. That's kind of dope. Hey, listen. We can get out of here. It's been a great show. We've had a good time. Yeah, we're gonna have to call it after every episode, Z. I think that's what's going to happen. And just see what happens. Because they talked about having testimonials, and then they're like,
"Oh, they did, yeah."
We'll have testimonials, so it makes me wonder whether or not
Abomination about to have one.
Right.
Hey,
she's awesome. I beat up her cousin, and she still actually became my lord.
Right, something. Yeah, that joint could be really dope. All right, man. Let's get ready to wrap the show. Joe, you got a job to do.
Gotcha.
You all know what it is. Right there for you. There's the Beacons link. Make sure you're following us across the board everywhere. Look, we have seen a decent uptick in our YouTube subscribers. Again, we're still on that chase to 1,000. We need about 230 more to make that happen. Again, we made some changes to Patreon, so go there, check that out. There are some new options there for people. If you'd like to find a way to support us outside of just watching, that would be awesome. Greatly appreciated, even if you are just watching. Sin, you about to do your job.
Yes, let's shout out our top tier Patreon members, starting with Anthony Cunningham, Susan Dortch, Tyrone Carson, Meticulous Skin, Marcus Houston. Thank you very much. We truly, truly appreciate it.
Man, you sound winded. You okay, buddy?
I don't know.
I'm good. I'm good. I don't know, like for some reason, like the workday, like just suddenly like started coming over
that
me.
Just smacked him in
my
the
man
face.
was thinking about getting stepped on and just had him on.
Yeah, thanks to our
but also Patreon subscribers, just so you know, remember we do have the topic of the month. Last month we made some changes to it to ask you guys for your topics for us to discuss. Unfortunately, we didn't receive any topics, probably because you all didn't know or whatever the case may be. But this month of August, we're honoring both last month and this month. So please submit your topics, and we'll create those videos to get those uploaded to you ASAP. So
that means it will be two separate videos.
Yes.
We're not going to combine them into one video. It'll be two separate videos, but we're looking for those suggestions. So we'll take multiple suggestions from out of there.
Yes.
To get that done. Again, we have a new tier. One of those tiers includes access to a new podcast we'll be doing. And there's an additional tier that actually has the ability to join us for that podcast. So that podcast is one that we will be recording prior to going live here. So that's 7 p.m. Eastern Time. The second Tuesday of each month. So we'll be recording that for the first time next week. Just want to make sure you're aware. It won't go live though for another week because you're getting early access to that. So you all look for the Snacking and Hanging podcast coming soon. Look, it's been a great show. We've had a great time. Otacon was awesome. Please keep your eyes peeled. We have a lot of content, a lot of interviews. We had 3 go up today. There are several more. Some of them are just really going to be hitting like our Instagram, our Reels, and so forth. We'll push them to hey, dog.
Pick a BTS bias. Well, Zaynab,
I mean, you can go into Patreon and make that suggestion. It does not count here.
There you go.
Yeah, we had a great time. So we are looking forward to seeing you next week.
Definitely.
We will not have a show 2 weeks out. I'll be out of town. So 2 weeks from now, there won't be a show. But we'll be back the following week. With that said, I greatly appreciate you all hanging out with us, staying tuned, being active in the comments. Please make sure you are following each other and staying a solid part of the community. Look tomorrow for an update in Lotus Ass Movie Club as to what the movie of the month for August is. with that, can I shut it down, Jokes?
Would you like me to shut it down?
I would love for you to attempt to shut it down.
Let's do this. Just because you have a well thought out plan doesn't make it a good idea.
Oh, with that we are Doodles and Loos. It only took like 2 months.